Hi everyone, my name is Marissa Oba, and I decided to do my research topic on the WHO Quality of Life Assessment. So what is the WHO Quality of Life Assessment? So the WHO Quality of Life group defined the quality of life as an individual's perception of their position in life and the context of culture and value systems in which they live and in relation to their goals, expectations, standards, and concerns. WHO Quality of Life Assessment was created to measure a person's perception of their life. The assessment tells the therapeutic recreation specialist how their client views life situations and how much those situations impact their lives. So, population is basically all types of people and ages, but the most common types of people are cultures. So, for example, this would be good if someone moved from Brazil to America. They might not like their life as much here because it's different than like the culture there. So they're just testing to see how much they are satisfied with their life. Mental health, chronic illness, for example, like chronic back pain. Some people might not enjoy life as much or just some aspects of life and just want to test to see what parts they're struggling with. Relationships, stroke victims, spinal cord injuries, and anxiety and depression. And anxiety and depression makes sense because people who are depressed tend to have a low perception of their quality of life, they on all aspects, or not all aspects, but some aspects, I guess I should say. So there are a few different types of this assessment. There's more than just three that are shown here, but these are the ones I researched more. They're most common. So WHO Quality of Life 100. So this one has 120 questions and many different and usually about 5 to 6 domains, and I'll go over what domains are later on the next slide, I think it is. And the next one is WHO Quality of Life Brief. This one is basically a simplified version of 100, and this one has usually about like 26 questions. And a lot of therapists like to use this one because it's quicker, and some of their clients can't sit down for too long, depending on what kind of diagnosis they have. So this one's good for like a quick assessment, but it won't tell you as much as the WHO Quality of Life 100. So the WHO Quality of Life HIV is just like all these, but specifically for HIV patients. Okay, so the administering and scoring, I found this in all of these, for examples, online for free. All the patient needs is a pen. So like I said, an item means, I was gonna go over this. An item means a question. So like, how many times a day do you see your friends? That could be on there. And that's the item, that specific thing. A domain is a category, such as physical, relationship, and spiritual. So relationship can fall into friends and stuff. And then also the therapeutic the rec therapist does is find the mean score of the domain, of each domain. So they find the mean score of physical, and they find the mean score of relationship and spiritual, depending on what this assessment has. And then depending on the assessment too, like I said, the WHO Quality of Life Brief is um, it it's smaller. So in this case, there's one that they had to multiply the score by 4, each domain score by 4, and then it equaled the WHO Quality of Life 100 examples. So, and the mean score, basically what it does is it shows the high and the low of what the domain is. And so if it's high for, let's say, relationships, then that means that they're doing pretty good in relationships. But if it's low, then it means they're not doing pretty well. So now we go on to reliability. I found 4 scholarly articles talking about the WHO Quality of Life Assessment, and this first one was psychiatric patients. They had 403 patients to study. They all had either psychotic, depressive, bipolar, anxiety, personality, alcohol use, and schizophrenia disorders. So the results I got were using Cronbach's alpha. So down here below shows what what interprets what these numbers mean because it can be kind of gibberish. So 0.00 to 0.69 is poor, 0.70 to 0.79 is fair, zero point 0.8 to 0.89 is good, 0.9 to 0.99 is excellent. So in this one for psychological health, it was 0.85, and for physical health 0.73. So these are both, they both fall into, well, I guess the first one falls in, or this one falls into good. This one falls into fair. This one falls into fair, and this one is poor, fairly like the top range of poor for environment, and 0.77, um, or 0.77 for environment. So this one calls unfair. So most of them are in the fair range. There's one poor and there's one good. But if there's, but more of it is above 0.70, so this is considered to be a reliable assessment for psychiatric patients. The next one I used was the HIV for patients from China. They studied 1,100 people, and the average of 0.70. Some were lower and some were higher, so this was considered to be reliable. The next one was similar to the Chinese people, and they was Thai people with HIV. So they studied 329 people in care for 7 different hospitals. So the domains that were tested are physical health, psychological health, level of independence, social relationship, environmental health, spirituality, religion, and personal beliefs. So the last 3 I know were kind of very similar, and that's kind of that's what's good about the quality of life brief is it would simplify this and put all these in the same categories and waste a little bit of time. So I don't know why they did this many categories when they're so much similar. So the average was zero point 0.7 and it falled into fair just like the other one. So this one was considered reliable. So for the trauma patients, this one's a little different. They tested 202 patients. The domains that were tested were physical, psychological, social, and environmental. However, they couldn't find the reliability. I'll tell you more about it later. This questions are a little bit skewed. It talks more about invalidity. So now in validity, we're going back to psychiatric patients. So in validity, they use factor analysis to test their results, and it was ranged from 0.62 to 0.90. And the CFA showed that WHO quality of life may need to reevaluate some of the meaning of items from the patient's point of view. Um, so this was, since the range was good, it was considered to be a valid assessment. And for China HIV, the domains ranged from 0.35 to 0.89. So this is really low. And the only one that was poor was spirituality. And so that's why that one's poor. The rest were fair and above. So that's pretty good. The study also tested a known group validity, and the study found that this study was consistent with other studies. So the Thai with HIV, they did a known group validity test through, and the results were similar among the HIV patients that were administered the same test. So they had similar results, and this was a valid test. And last but not least, the trauma patients I was talking about earlier. So their problem was they had a high number of missing items in the assessment, and I think it's happened because patients overlooked them, and they might have like read a question, they didn't really want to answer it. It was might have been overwhelming for them, so they decided to skip it, or they just didn't want to answer it for personal reasons. So in this case, the calculations got skewed, and some of the questions, which resulted in a low, some of the questions, it couldn't have been tested because of the low population, basically, and couldn't find the validity and reliability. So in the end, all of the scholarly articles except the last one claimed they were valid and reliable, and they were satisfied with the results, and they would recommend it to other facilities and patients throughout the world. And here's my works cited page, and if you guys want to read any of these to understand more about this and maybe want to use this in your future career, you can. There you go.